What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Coca-Cola, Pepsi Alternatives favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the masterpiece Takara Tomy MP51, I believe, Arcee. This is on loan to me from Scott M, so shout out to Scott. I greatly appreciate it, my guy. I didn't know anyone getting this, I don't think, so I appreciate the opportunity. And when I say no, I mean like, you know, kind of have regular correspondence with. So thank you. So we're gonna take a look at it, and he begged me to take my time, which I thought was funny. But I'm not going to, because I'm in a rush, and that's my life, and I'm tightly wound, and I'm go, always operating at 11. So, you know, still gonna do my best not to break it. That being said, in order to break it, I'd have to look at accessories and possibly break those. Hopefully not, but let's take a look at them. She comes with 3 alternate faces. She comes with this face, which looks like it's kind of like in the middle of speaking, and this face, which looks like it's slightly concerned, and then this face, which looks like she just saw my cola raise. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, dude. What do you want from me? But it's like her old face, right? Which is fine. Let's keep it moving. She comes with a rifle. I believe the pink is, like the lighter pink is painted. It might both be painted, I can't tell. But it looks good enough and it's sculpted nicely. That will tab into the side of her vehicle mode. She'll hold that just fine, but because they gave a peg on each side to plug into the palm in the shape of the thumb, it is a little obnoxious to deal with. It'll work, but it's not great. She comes with a gray pistol. I think this is fully painted also, with the green, some accents on the green, some silver perhaps, and then a gray, and a nice enough sculpt. Underneath the vehicle, you can take this tab of the gun and slide it into the corresponding slot, and it'll sit there, kind of right underneath the front bumper, supposedly. It works, it's just a pain in my neck. She holds the pistol beautifully because she doesn't have to deal with the tab issue on the opposite side. And then, unlike the previous 2, you get this gun, which just looks like plastic cut off the sprue to me, and doesn't have quite the level of detail in sculpt nor in finish that the other 2 do, which just seems bizarre. It's almost as if it's not from the same set when looking at them. It seems as one of these is not like the others kind of deal, you know, and it's just strange. You wouldn't think it came from the same set, which is a bummer. But there it is. She'll hold that just fine as well. Same sort of issue as the rifle. But what it does come with is a holster that you can slide the pistol into, and then you can utilize this tab and also plug that into the side of the vehicle. This holster will go on her hip. There is a tab for you to apply it. She also comes with the motorcycle tripper, and it's sculpted well enough, and it's actually painted as well. So we have gunmetal paint down the kind of shaft, as it were, and then you have the silver, the more silver paint on the spikes, and then pink to match the base of the vehicle. And the reason why it's important for that to match the base of the vehicle is it's intended to peg into this slot here, and then it sits out to the side, and you can kind of do the thing, right? Which is well enough, right? It's cool. I'm actually surprised that no one else has thought about doing it. But did it come out of the wheel in the cartoon? I can't remember. Either way, there'll always be somebody like, have you even seen the movie, bro? Like, dude, don't bro me if you don't know me. I'm not sure. My memory's not 100%. But yeah, either way, I think it works. And lastly, she comes with these 3 effects. They are a translucent yellow, nothing really otherwise to kind of speak on, but they're for the different guns. And they are intended to go on all of your firearms here. However, this one has like a special groove for the barrel of this. Oh, there it is. It finally went, but I was having a hard time getting it and I didn't feel comfortable totally doing it. But I think I'll double check. This one is special for this gun. These 2, we'll just do it with one, are interchangeable. And that brings us to the alt mode. It is probably pretty much perfect. If not perfect, really, really close. It's probably the most accurate one we have thus far. Now, I haven't pulled out all these plastic bits yet. I'm going to here shortly, but I didn't want to until I absolutely had to, that protect the paint underneath. However, if you look underneath, it's a disaster. And that's ultimately fine. They all are. It's just that if anyone was going to figure out a way to make it clean, sharp, and pretty, so to speak, it was going to be Takara, but even their scientists couldn't figure it out. And of course, I'm being funny with scientists, but, you know, they couldn't get it. Nobody can get it. It always looks like a complete and utter disaster underneath. That's just the name of the game, I suppose. However, the detailings are great. It's fully painted. The pink looks good, so to speak. The tires are plastic. The gray is painted. The white is painted. Blue translucent there. I think it's probably the best innards there, like the all the tech detailings and stuff and little paint accents. Probably the best that we've ever seen. And on the back, the brake lights are painted. Everything looks sharp, clean, and appropriate and purposeful, which I can't say for all the other offerings, you know? But this one did it really, really well. No complaints. And there it is next to Tiger Tracks. So, compact also, but appropriate M-Piece car size. So let's get her transformed. And I want to say I've had numerous people. I love how like people think I'm like just like this complete accident waiting to happen. But people have hit me up and been like, man, make sure you watch a video that everything about this thing is terrible. Just, you know, in terms of transformation, like it seems fragile, et cetera, et cetera. So make sure you watch something, give yourself a little bit. So I watched a couple, I want to credit them. I watched Pake's transformation and I watched TM Reviews transformation. They both do a very good job with transformation. So I trust them. I went to them. That's their shout out for this. So what it seems like you had to do is separate this gray piece from both the front and back section first. So we'll kind of get this. It's this piece too. Oh, there you go, girl. Spin this up here. This pink section accordions back on a double hinge, as does this section. So it kind of just sits collapsed to the back. Same for this side. We're going to separate both sections. Spin this towards the vehicle. Separate this flap here. Double hinge that back onto itself. And then the gray as well. Then you got to pop the trunk, all that junk in the trunk, which is pegged in with this peg. And you want to, once again, on a double hinge, move this up and out of the way. This is really just to get access to her hips, because we're going to move her feet down. Now, the arms here will give you some wiggle room, so just move them as you need to in order to clear the feet out from there. Once you've got them down, sitting about 90 degrees out, swing them in towards the pelvis, and then that will allow you to rotate them the rest of the way. Towards the pelvis and down. Little smudge there. And then fix the feet by just sorting the toes and rocking the foot down. Rock the foot down, sort the toes. Take your arms and start folding them down into a position that begins to make anatomic sense. So get the shoulders squared up, get the elbows squared up. So get her head out and around and extend this sort of armature here the best you can, because we're going to need all the space we can get. We want to get this, let me turn the camera down just a taste, piece through here and sit along the back of the vehicle. So spin this. And I got news for you. Okay, there we go. We're in. There we go. All right, we've cleared these two bars. So our next challenge is to clear these two. Now you can maneuver this blue piece as need be. There we go. To kind of get it sitting flush against there, and then collapse the gray piece against it. That'll hold it tight, and then you can fold the wheels over it. I'm not sure if it's best to have the wheels down first. Let's see. Yeah, probably. So put your wheels and fender down first, and this. And then you're in good shape. And then this is where we make the money. So, look, I'm not crazy about this, any of it, and I'm not comfortable really messing with it, but I'm going to do it. You had to separate these two pieces, the brake lights, from this back piece. So you can see where they slide in. Untab, untab. This rail here is on a bar. You have to extend it from the bar, which will allow you to clear the peg on the pink piece. Same on this side. Once that's done, you can kind of get this out of the way. You can also fold up these seats here. We're going to be building something back here. You can collapse the tire. This plastic feels cheap and light, so be careful against the back there. You want to bring these pieces up, the pink side pieces like the saddles, up and over on a double hinge around the trunk. Then this comes back down and you clear on this bar because you've extended it. If you push it a little bit. Oh, dude, it does not feel good. On this rail, just that little bit towards the center, it'll allow you to compress this around that piece, and it just sits there. It doesn't really lock in or anything, it just sits there. All right, you have these two pieces here. They move in about 15 degrees, and then you have these two white tabs here, and they plug into the back of her flank, and they don't even really plug in, they just sort of sit there. Then you could take your gray pieces and fold them back to the back. I haven't done that yet because they feel cheap and they feel breakable and they feel fragile. So if they're sitting like this, you can just put more pressure on certain odds and ends. That'll get you that part clear. Then you have the upper piece. Flip your Autobot symbol. I'm sure they were very proud of themselves for that too. And I got news for you, that's not flipping right either. But I'm gonna leave it alone. Flip that the best you can. There you go. And kind of keep that, just keep that in mind. Then the armatures here will slide right between the rails of, between the white section and the pink saddlebags, and sort of start to encompass all of this down here. On the front, you want the chest piece to sit between those, and then the chest to plug in to there, and all of this should sit accordingly. The last thing that you want to do, and I gotta clean it up obviously, is take your two fenders here and wrap them around your tires. And as long as you have everything in place, it should be doable. And I think that's it. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'll get it cleaned up and we will take a look at it. So let's talk about the figure. It does have some weight to it, probably because of all the sorry, but it does have some weight to it. It does feel heavy, you know, heavy in your arms. Florence and the Machine reference. But it's interesting. So let's just go through it. We have the head. The sculpt is money. It looks fantastic. Eyes are painted beautifully. The eyeliner is painted beautifully. The lips are painted beautifully. The sculpt is on the money. The helmet looks perfect. All of that looks great. The head is on a bull peg, as you can see, and the neck is on a hinge. So using both, you can get a ton of articulation out of her, all the way up to there, down to there, swivel, confused Arcee look, no problems whatsoever. It works fantastic. Now the shoulders, we have a hinge at the base of the shoulder. That hinge comes out to a secondary hinge, which gets you the arm all the way up, so no issues there. Where it plugs into the secondary hinge, you get a swivel, so no issues there as well. Now, the shoulder itself is on a hinge, which allows it to pivot out, so you get a butterfly all the way across the chest. So pretty much Perfect. Bicep swivel and a little bit of sculpted detail there on the arm, which is nice, and I don't take for granted with them anymore. We have an elbow that's a double hinged and gets you the full run, so no issues there. And we have a wrist swivel that hinges in and out. The thumb is on its own hinge. The index finger is on its, so the index, all the fingers are on the base pin, and the index finger has a secondary knuckle that's independent to itself, and the other fingers have a secondary knuckle that react together, which works fairly well, to be honest. Same for the other side, and it's fully painted. Waist. It's a ball peg. It might be a double ball peg from the way it's acting. It might be a ball peg from the chest into the abdomen into the pelvis, which kind of acts like a double ball peg. Either way, nothing to scoff at. You get a little, nothing really over. You get a little bit back. You get some teapot. You get a swivel. Looks good. Works well. You have the chest, which doesn't look right. It doesn't look right in pictures. It doesn't look right in person. It's this flap. The angle is wrong. If that was just facing up, like to there, even though it sits a bit low, I don't think anybody would have a problem with it. I think they did it to get that. The butterfly, I'm not sure that's worth it. It certainly isn't to me. Whether or not it is to you is definitely subjective. Sculpted detail all down here looks great, except this looks too low. It looks like it should sit up higher. You lose the whole stomach. Not crazy about it. We have universals for hips, but ironically, they're limited. So I guess you can kick them out to the side, and then you can get it, which is fine. But you still can't get the outward movement. Huh, so a little bit limited. Not what I would have expected from Takara these days. Interesting. Forward and back actually isn't a problem even when they're sitting regular. So, yeah, just a little bit limited out to the side. Interesting. Thigh swivel at a cut joint with a weird tolerance that I'm not going to mess with too much. Double jointed knee that gets you the full run, so no issues there. And it's beautifully engineered, like, you know, the circle element to it works really well. And then we have ankles. Well, sort of. We have a rocker. We don't really have much of a tilt, I don't think. Oh, yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Hold on one second. Tolerance. So you get ankle tilt down and up and the rocker. And then you have a toe hinge as well. So, yeah, I mean, pretty much top shelf with the exception of the hips in regards to articulation. Some sculpt issues. This doesn't look good. It doesn't look good in pictures. It doesn't look good in person. And the backpack is just, you know, large Marge. You know what I'm saying? So, other than that, it's fine. Size comparison wise, there it is with a Masterpiece car. So, about what you would expect. There it is with Fans Toys Rouge, and a lot of people have been asking if I'm going to compare these. The answer is no, because I will never transform this Rouge. I can just tell by some of the joints it'll never be the same afterwards. Anyway, it's not fair to compare them due to that. However, I can tell you this. I think this is one of Fans Toys' biggest misses. Okay, and I say that to say this, I would never get this over this. Just because what I needed to do is aesthetically please me, and this doesn't. Look at the backpack, the proportions, etc. It's just, it's night and day. The build of this is better. The materials of this is better. Let me see what else I want to say about this while we're on the subject. This is better articulated. If you want, this has the better alt mode. So it's going to come down to what you want from an Arcee. If you want it to look good in a stoic pose, there's going to be no topping this. If you want it to be able to be well articulated and have a great alt mode, there's no topping this. If you want the best available all around option, it's probably the MMC one. That's just being objective. The MMC one is not what I want either, but objectively it looks better than this and it's built better than that. What do you want me to tell you? That's about all I got and all I'm going to offer on the subject because I just don't have enough information because my bars here are already, like with even little movements, I've already seen that they've gotten weaker and it's just not something that I'm interested in doing when I'm paying for something. So yeah, there they are. To me, it's a no-brainer, but you know, aesthetics are a matter of preference and subjectivity. Final thoughts wise, let me start with the negatives. The negatives for me are numerous, to be fair, but the most blatant ones are as follows. In new standard, typical Takara masterpiece fashion, the materials are not up to par. They feel weak, they feel thin, they feel flimsy, and under the pressure of the build, they don't feel like they're made to last. I haven't transformed this thing back to car mode, so I'm hesitant to say anything, but as of right now, I'm glad I didn't break it. Secondly, the aesthetics. This is something else that Takara usually does a better job with. However, the chest, both proportionately and shaped and sculpt, as well as the backpack, are just really clunky, clumsy, and dare I say amateurish. Now, I have a couple other gripes as well. Some of the tolerances with the build are not up to par. I think that while I understand the purpose in tabbing the rifle on both sides of the grip, I think it was probably the wrong choice, and they should have just let one hand be the designated gun holding hand. Doesn't mean you can't get cool poses out of it, doesn't mean it'll work. However, I feel like it would have been better and more versatile had they kind of just picked a hand or come up with a different method. Lastly, and interestingly enough, some of the articulation isn't there. Well, some might be a bit of a stretch, but I would have expected more of an outward range on the hips. And I have to be honest, it has had an effect on my ability to poser. So just something to take into account. Plenty of positives as well, though. The most glaring, in my opinion, is the alt mode. I don't think another company has done it as well. I think this is the best Arcee alt mode we've ever seen. It's also fully painted, and they introduced a bit more sculpted detail here, which is nice to see. It's a breath of fresh air. The articulation, with the exception of the hips, works really well, especially the arms, but you had to sacrifice the chest for it. That's a matter of opinion whether it's worth it to you. And the accessories are all thoughtful, make sense, and are plentiful and numerous. So if you're okay with the way this thing looks and you don't plan on flipping it back and forth a whole lot, I would say that it's worth the buy. Plan on flipping it back and forth a whole lot, I'm not sure it will survive extended trips to car mode. And if you don't like the way it looks, nothing about it is going to help that. It looks just as bad in person as it did in pictures in regards to that, if that's how you feel about it, which I did. Will somebody get rid of those people up there in the office of Takara? They're not on it. They've lost it, in my opinion. Whatever made them special, whatever made them confident, comfortable, and us as fans confident and comfortable to label them a masterpiece is long gone. And what we're left with is something far less. But enough about that. Best of luck. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.